They interviewed 500 people. They looked at over 1 million pages in documents, over 50 subpoenas, and made the determination there was no collusion. Again, that's the entire reason for the special counsel. They've concluded it. Just because Democrats don't like the results of the 2016 election or the Mueller report, it doesn't mean they get a do-over. It's sad that they have no message, that they have no agenda, and the hypocrisy of the process that they're doing. What they're going through and what they're going to do to the country, that doesn't hurt the president. It hurts the American people, and that's unfair, and they should be ashamed of themselves for doing that. Hey guys, one at a time. Paula.
Has Congress exonerated? Did Congress exonerate the president, as the White House claims he's been exonerated?
Look, we think the president has been fully and completely exonerated based on the fact there was no collusion, there was no conspiracy, and there was no obstruction.
The president has repeatedly described the Mueller report as showing no collusion, no obstruction, but today he tweeted there was insufficient evidence. That's a pretty significantly different defense. Why did he change his characterization?
He hasn't changed his position. We've been saying the same thing for 2 years. Before the Mueller investigation even had to start, we knew there was no collusion. We knew there was no conspiracy, and there's been no obstruction. We've been explicitly clear in that. I think I've probably said that phrase no less than 1,000 times standing right here in this very spot. So our message hasn't changed at all. David.
If you're saying that Congress has really no reason to impeach the president or to go down that road, does that mean the White House is not right now preparing for how to respond to an impeachment process?
We're always prepared, but I don't think the American people deserve that. Look, every single minute that Congress spends on that, we're not spending on infrastructure. We're not spending on lowering prescription drug prices. We're not spending on Iran, China, North Korea, new trade deals. Every single thing that they're doing is taking away from things that could actually help the American people, and that's a great disservice. And I think it's frankly wrong for them to do that.
I totally get that, but I'm sorry, Sarah, does that mean that there have been no meetings at the White House about how do we prepare for it?
Look, I'm not going to get into internal processes. I'm just saying we're always prepared, and we're going to move forward doing what we think is important and focus on things that actually help people.
So moving forward, if you want to look forward, what is this administration going to do to make sure that in 2020, because everyone says, even Mueller and this administration has acknowledged that Russia hacked our elections for the benefit of Donald Trump. What is this administration going to do to make sure that the 2020 elections are secure?
We're going to do what the previous administration didn't. First, acknowledge that there is a problem and try to make sure it doesn't happen again. We've taken a whole of government approach. The Department of Homeland Security has met with officials that conduct elections in all 50 states. We're doing constant cooperation and coordination between all 50 states to try to prevent this from ever happening again. We take it very seriously, and we've taken a number of steps to make sure that we don't repeat the mistakes of the previous administration. Jim.
Robert Mueller says that they're barred by Justice Department policy from recharging the president with a crime. It does beg the question, if Donald Trump were not the president, could he be charged with a crime? What do you say to that?
I think it's real simple. I say what we have said, is that they were looking at whether or not there was collusion. That would be the crime that would have been committed, collusion or obstruction, and all of those things have been determined to not have taken place. Collusion, conspiracy, obstruction, and again, we consider this very much to be case closed.
The president said there was insufficient evidence, therefore he is innocent. Is that the bar at which you set things?
We set the bar at the fact that Mueller spent 2 years, did an exhaustive investigation, and came back to say that there was no wrongdoing by the Trump campaign or any American. And again, I repeat that we've said this before, that should be something to be celebrated, not something to be questioned. We should be glad, we should be thankful that the United States did not have a single person that was part of a collusion conspiracy to interfere with our elections. That's a great thing. That's a good day in America, and it's sad that Democrats don't realize that.
One more
Pick up on Paula's question. When the Mueller report was initially released, what we heard from the White House was no collusion, no obstruction. What we're hearing from you today is no collusion, no conspiracy. Does the White House now acknowledge that the Mueller report didn't specifically say no obstruction?
We have been very clear that the whole purpose of the Mueller investigation was to determine whether or not there was collusion. He determined there was no collusion. He further determined he didn't have enough information to make that decision. It goes to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General, along with the Deputy Attorney General, made that determination and confirmed there was no obstruction.
Why should people trust a political appointee, in this case Bill Barr, over a nonpartisan member in Robert Mueller?
We're not asking you to. Robert Mueller did 400 pages and laid it all out. And well, the Attorney General made his decision based on Mueller's information. Everybody keeps forgetting that. The entire decision about obstruction was based on Mueller's report, based on the information that he laid out. He couldn't make a determination. That means it goes to the next step in the process, and they confirmed that there was no obstruction. This is real simple, and we consider it to be case
Was Mueller's statement today fair? Sarah, was Mueller's statement today fair? Sarah, was Mueller's statement today fair? Was Mueller's
statement didn't say anything new. Go ahead.
Thank you. 2 questions for you. You just laid out a vigorous defense of what this administration, you say, has been doing to prevent Russian interference, which is at the core of this whole thing in the first place.
Not just Russian interference, any interference.
Why haven't we heard any of that from President Trump himself?
He literally had his entire team that is working on this process to a press briefing where they walked through those.
What about from him?
That's his staff. He instructed our team to go out and lay out what we're doing to protect from not just Russian interference, but any interference from any government or otherwise.
Why is he the one?
He isn't reluctant to say it. He said it a number of times that there was interference, and now we're taking steps on how we stop it from happening again. You guys constantly want to attack this president, but the reason that we're in this mess in the first place is because the previous administration failed to do their job. We know there was interference. It didn't happen on our watch. It happened on theirs, and we're actually cleaning up the mess and trying to make sure it doesn't happen. Last question, John, go ahead.
Congressman Amash said he interpreted the report as back to Congress. What is your response to what Congressman Amash says? The other thing, since he made his statement about
Let me take the first question. I don't think Congressman Amash is worth the time in the White House.
Are you going to support his primary opponent, or will the president support?
I'll let the president make that determination.